any kind of ache, any kind of pain, any kind of spot, anything else, it's cancer. And that goes through your mind. It hits you every time. From the time I walk through at the front station to wherever I go, they're laughing, and that's patients included. And I just feel that laughter is powerful. I said, I've done a lot of things. I said, but I've never made fun of nuns. I said, but here we go.
On today's episode, I'll dialogue with Gaylen McGee, renowned auctioneer and storyteller who joined us to share his own story. Welcome to the CARTI Hopecast, where we explore stories that shape us, journeys of resilience, hope, and perseverance. We seek the lessons that emerge when we face the unexpected and find strength in the struggle. I'm Adam Head, your host, and today I have the honor of sitting down with Gaylen McGee. Galen's story is one of passion, perseverance, and positivity. From his roots in the auction world to his battle with cancer, Galen's journey has been anything but ordinary. Let's dive into his incredible life and the lessons he's learned along the way. Galen, thank you for joining us today. Yep. Welcome to the CARTI Hopecast.
I'm happy to be here.
It's clear that early experience set you on an extraordinary path. Before we dive deeper into your career and journey, how are you doing today?
I'm good. We're rocking and rolling. No other way to be.
All right. Well, as we jump in, I'd love to go over your first auction at 4 years old. Your first auction experience at 4 is a remarkable story. What do you remember most about that day, and how did it set the stage for your lifelong passion in the auctioneering world?
Well, I was sort of born into it. My dad, my family, they've been traders their whole life, and or all their lives. That's what they were. And I've got a genealogy. We run all the way back on Ancestry, and it goes all the way back to the 1700s when my forefather came across, and that's what he did, is he was a trader. And it's just evolved and kept going. And first auction experience that I remember, I'm sure there was one or more before this, but I was with my dad and then another auctioneer. My dad had went to the restroom, and so we're sitting there, and here comes this big paint horse. And the auctioneer friend of mine, or my dad's, there was a little drinking going on. Let's go ahead, okay? I'll just go ahead and say it. Anyway, he just leans over, and the horse is selling. And he should hit that old horse a lick, son. He'll make you some money. So I raised my hand, and I bought him. And Dad comes back from the restroom, and I told him that I had bought this horse, and of course he just grinned. He didn't care. Now, I forget how much it was. It was $150 or whatever it was. So we bring the horse home, and it turns out this horse was a kid horse. And I could crawl up and down its legs. I could crawl all over its head. I could do anything, and it never would. It was just as gentle as could be as a kid horse. So next week, I carry him back to the BB sale barn. And I walk in with him, and I'm walking up and down. I crawl up his legs and this and that. I made $42, 1968.
Wow.
And that was a lot of money. Mm-hmm. But so that's my first auction experience that I vividly remember. But I could go on and on and on and on.
It's included selling goldfish.
Yep.
Working as a reporter.
Yep.
Selling stocks and bonds.
Yes, sir.
And ultimately becoming a renowned auctioneer. What lessons from these diverse experiences stand out as pivotal in shaping the person that is Gaylen McGee?
I mean, there's so much more that I can add to that is intertwined in what I've done.
Sure, go ahead.
I sold siding, door to door. I pierced ears. I sold sunglasses.
Certainly seems like it's helped you to relate to people from all walks of life. You haven't experienced a lot of these things.
My daddy and my mother, they taught us to, respect is more important than anything. And, respect is given. I think respect should be given. and then you see you earn it. That's just sort of the way I feel about it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who you are. I treat everyone the same.
You've shared that you've learned to view rejection as a form of flattery.
Yep.
Early in your career. Mm-hmm. How did that mindset fuel your success, and how were you able to get to that point? Because many people would view rejection as just rejection.
I learned a lot in the bond business. We were selling bonds. I sold bonds. I sold Freddie Macs, Fannie Mae's, Ginnie Mae's. And you've seen the movie, you've seen The Wolf of Wall Street, the movie, the guys in the long, the desks lined up, and you see all of this stuff. Well, that is a true fact. And we call it a pressure cooker. If you can turn your feelings off and around and redirect your thought process about rejection or objection, and just use it, say, well, I've not told you enough because I'm telling you, bang, boom, 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 boom.
Mm-hmm. Well, you've had a pretty fantastic career as an auctioneer, sharing stages with music legends and performing for presidents are pretty incredible achievements. Which of those moments left the biggest impression on you, and why?
I can tell you who we had the most fun with was the Commodores.
Oh, really? The Commodores?
Yep. Commodores were just great. We were on stage. We just all had a really good time. They've all been wonderful. I've had a couple that wasn't, but most of the time, they're pretty normal. They're normal people, and they don't get talked to like normal people, but yet I'll talk to them like a normal person will.
Well, you've spent decades of your life auctioneering for organizations, many of which support treatment of life-threatening diseases like cancer. What went through your mind when you were told you have cancer, and how did you process that initial shock?
You don't ever think about what you're raising money for, and you're helping and you're preparing. You don't prepare yourself for the thought that it could be you. Mm-hmm. And I've learned this. Until you're in someone's shoes, you might think you know, but I'm telling you, you don't know. My phone call that I got was pretty disheartening, and it was a real slap in the face. It has been a mind job. That's what I'm going to call it. So you really have to, But yeah, crying, bawling, yep. But I did that by myself. I didn't tell anyone about anything except my dad, my mom, ex-wife, my daughter, and I didn't tell anybody else. Told my brother too, and nobody else. No one knew it.
Well, we talked a little bit earlier about how you approached your care journey.
Yeah.
And maybe different than some people approach it, but
it's different than most people approach it.
But you made your care team laugh.
Yes.
Continuously during treatments, turning your own challenging moments into something a little lighter. How did humor help you stay positive, and what role do you think it played in your recovery?
If I can leave everyone with a smile, if I can get a laugh out of someone, it helps my heart, and it does. It is what it is. I guess I'm just I like laughter. I believe laughter is powerful. It's better to laugh about it than cry. That's okay. Put it that way.
One thing that's interesting based on your background is now that you can say you're a cancer survivor. Now that, as you were saying earlier, that no one really understands unless you've walked through it yourself. Well, now you have gotten that phone call. You have gotten that call that said, I'm sorry you have cancer. How has your own experience deepened your connection to the causes that you've supported for many years?
All of them have a great purpose. And I think what has helped me as far as on that to learn more about the benefits and what they do, rather than just coming up there and doing a job and walking away. And I think I've gotten a more of an emotional connection with each one, no matter what they do, because I just do so many, and I wouldn't have it any other way. I enjoy it, and if I can bring most of our things is just like, it's all sad, it's all this and it's all that, but if I can bring some laughter in that and some joy, so I think I think it's just through all of it, it's just made me come to terms with investigating and learning more about the benefit that I'm working with and working for.
You mentioned earlier you had a select number of people that you told,
Yep.
Hey, I've got cancer, I'm walking through this. I know, personally, you, even in a public forum at Benefit, you started connecting, your own story in a way. How were you able to get to that point, or how quickly did you get to that point where you were able to really draw people in through your own experience, which is powerful?
Well, so what we decided to do when I was first diagnosed with prostate cancer, June 2017, we run a genome test, and if there's a good kind, I was fortunate enough to have that kind. And he said, wait and watch it. And he said, here's the thing. He said, the reason for the wait and watch is because technology is advancing at a record pace as far as on treatment for your type cancer and, every type cancer. And he said, but here's the drawback. He said, can you mentally handle it? And I said, if you think that's what we can do, I can mentally handle it, and I'll handle it. But I didn't tell a soul about nothing. And I've got some really close relatives, and I'm talking about really close, and they never knew it. I sort of felt guilty about that, but I'm not one. I don't want anyone to be thinking of me and worried about me. Mm-hmm. But I waited, let me see, 22? 5 years.
5 years.
5 years.
Were you worried that it would kind of, based on what you do, it'd be a downer, or for people if you shared that?
When you're told you have cancer, there's so many things that go through your mind. And you get over the grief and whatever, and you make your mind up which way you're going to go and what you're going to do. When you're told that, any kind of ache, any kind of pain, any kind of spot, anything else, it's cancer. And that goes through your mind. It hits you every time. Every time.
Sure.
And we all have aches and pains. The older you get, the more aches and pains you got.
Do you remember a particular moment where you just kind of made a decision and you said, I'm going to do this differently here?
Well, I had went in and for a checkup, and it was time. So I had another spot come up.
Okay.
And comes in and tells me, it's time. We got to do something. It's time to start. And then we talked more about who, what, when, where, and about a new treatment that my other doctor had told me was coming. It just wasn't out yet. So that's what I did. And I'm good, baby.
Love it. Mm-hmm. You don't seem to be slowing down in any way. We were talking about that.
I never did slow down. I never slowed down. I mean, through all of it, and I had a lot of things that happened. And I'm going to tell you, I got depressed, and it was just those 5 years was just,
yeah.
It was a bad time for me. Mentally, physically, business, everything just went south. No matter what treatment is, no matter who, what, when, where, in my mind, that initial phone call, 10 years. 10 years.
That's what you were told.
Yeah,
when you
and
got
I'm sitting here and I'm
got
counting,
an initial phone call.
Yes, and I'm counting. I'm counting down it. And you talking about a mind job? It is a mind job. And regardless of what regardless of what everything and whatever, it's still in my mind.
Being able to have all this kind of out there, so to speak, obviously with your treatment, which has been good, but has that been therapeutic for you?
Lord,
just to know that's out
when
there?
that happened, of course, everybody was mad at me. Mm-hmm. When I started treatment, I said, well, it's time to, and that's what I did.
What keeps you passionate about giving back? And is there a particular event or moment that deeply moved you or sticks out in your mind as to why the work that you do matters?
Cancer has affected my family a lot. We all, it's in our bloodstream.
Yeah.
And then friends, Lord, the older you get, and then, and I lost some friends that were young. Cancer, I think, is my main passion. And, if I can make people smile while I'm taking their money, that's what I want to do. And if I can make everybody laugh and it's just, and make it part of giving and make it a joy to give. That's I think that's what I want to say.
Is that what drives you today to continue
Yes.
to do that?
Yep. Yep.
How do you continue to find joy and purpose now on the other side of this cancer journey and in this next chapter, so to speak, of your life?
I think by seeing other people's success, I guess, and seeing other people's journey. And because I'm going to tell you something, once you can relate to it. Again, you can say well, no, you can't. Until you've had it, you don't know.
Now you can, yeah.
You just, so, yeah, I think that. And then, and you look back over the years and you see how far we've come in as far as treatment plans. Mm-hmm. And you've learned so much more about anything and everything about treatment plans. But as far as just keep going, man, I'm going to tell you something. As long as I'm breathing, if I can help, I'm helping. And that's just one way it is. I like to help.
So looking back now, 2017, so we're going on 8 years.
8 years.
As you look back and think about everything that you've been through, are there ways that you would have done things differently, or do you look back now and go, well, I was doing the best that I could do in the moment?
Well, you could always look back and, you could say, I could have been stronger.
Now I expect your ability to connect in new ways with audiences.
Well, you know how that is. I mean, you've been
your best moments may be ahead of you here.
Well, I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so. And I've still encountered things that I haven't encountered. I was doing an event in Jackson, Mississippi, and it was for Make-A-Wish. I'm walking around the room and I'm doing my thingy. I'm selling something. Well, I look over, and for the first time ever, there's two nuns. They're like 80-something years old, 85. I couldn't help myself. And I'm looking at their table. I'm at their table. And I look at them. I said, yep. I said, I've done a lot of things. I said, but I've never made fun of nuns. I said, but here we go. So I just go and I grab a chair, and and then I go right back to auctioning the way I do. So then I grab a chair and I go and I scoot it and I just slide it right in between them. And then, of course, I'm auctioning and I'm making fun with them, and they're dying laughing. They had more fun. So, but I made fun of nuns. How many times you get to do that?
Probably not many people could say that, I would
That's
imagine.
Right.
Before we close, is there any advice or encouragement you'd like to leave with our listeners who may have faced their own show-stopping turn in their life, just like you did?
Talk with people about it. Explain your emotions, because I promise you, they've gone through the same thing that you've going through. And their emotions are going to be high, their emotions are going to be low. And it's just like today. I mean, even, today, I have high and I got low. Because regardless, no matter, it's still with me. Mm-hmm. And it might be gone. Hope and pray that it is. But it's still with me. And, and it don't hurt to talk about it. So I'm not talking about putting it out in Facebook land and this and that, but I'm talking about talking about it. Mm-hmm. And but find someone that you can talk to that's been through it. And that would be my best advice. And it'll help you, and you'll go a long way, because that way there's no unknown. You'll know. Mm-hmm. And anyway, that would be my best advice. So, and then stay the course. That's my motto. Stay the course. And don't walk in there with your head down. Walk in there like you mean it. And, no sad stuff. Be laughing. Every time when I go in and do blood work, which is every 6 months, 4 to 6 months, I promise you, when I walk through that door, everybody's laughing. From the time I walk through at the front station to wherever I go, they're laughing, and that's patients included. And I just feel that laughter is powerful. Endorphins, I guess. So with that, I'm good, baby.
Gaylen McGee, we appreciate you sharing your story with us today.
Yes, sir. $17, 50, 17, 50, 17, 52,000.